Texas basketball is starting up. The Big 12 is eating itself alive. And has this quarterback taken the crown in the AFC? Don't go anywhere. This is College Crossfire. Why?
I guess we'll get into it. Always enthusiastic, unbelievable, hard-nosed.
All right, let me explain why Aaron Judge is getting it. You can boo me all you want.
I knew Texas was going to win, and then one of the Texas team was going to lose.
Hammy. I don't like the camera.
Wait, you don't like this guy?
All right, I'm done. This is all chaos.
Welcome back to College Crossfire. I'm your host, Aaron Barnes. Before we get started, TSTV is starting a fundraiser to purchase more equipment in order to help us provide our lovely viewers with great content every week. Please refer to our social media pages for information on how you can support student media. Now, let's get right into it. Let's meet the panel. On first base, returning champion, Henry Corwin. Henry, how you feeling?
I'm doing great. You know, everyone keeps telling me Spider-Man was just here. I didn't see him, though.
What?
I just
That's
missed
so
him.
weird.
Crazy.
I've never
Crazy.
seen you and him in the same room. That's wild.
That's what I was just about to say. So,
All right, second base, we got Clark Dalton. Clark, how you doing?
Been really busy lately, covering a lot of volleyball for the Daily Texan, but excited to be back here and talk some sports. It's a great week.
Yeah, volleyball is doing great, right? Are they going to win the national championship this year? Real quick. Quick.
Yes.
All right. I'd like to hear. On third base, we have Zach left. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since I've been on the show, so I'm excited to be back, and just to talk about some sports. Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive on into talking about sports.
Let's do it.
Head coach Shaka Smart has been on the hot seat ever since he got to Texas. Last year's NIT championship dulled the roars for a bit, but unless Texas basketball has a great season, it seems like the seat, along with Coach Smart, might just catch on fire. So is this the last year we see Coach Smart on the sidelines for Texas? Henry.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah. And the reason I say that is because, and I don't think it's anything that Shaka can do this year. I feel like he's kind of already out before the season's even starting. And the reason I say that is because who has the Texas team really added that they didn't have last year? I mean, I guess Andrew Jones. Shout out to Andrew Jones, by the way, for a great performance in the first game. But, I mean, they haven't really added, like, too many more pieces. And I think that this team's ceiling is just about where it was last year, maybe even a little lower. So that's just out and NIT champions, I guess, and then or maybe like first round exit. So I think that it's going to end up the same way, first round exit, not even in the tournament, and he's going to be out. However, I will say that if he can find a way to make it to second, maybe even the Sweet 16, then I think there may be talks about keeping him. But anything but that, I think he's going to be out.
Okay, so definitely have to make the tournament, maybe win a couple games in the tournament to keep him. Clark, what do you think?
Shaka's staying. And here's why. First of all, Shaka's contract is still for 4 more years, and it's worth $12.9 million. And from what I've heard, that South End Zone project, it's not going to be cheap, so you need to keep money in the system. But additionally, on the basketball side, we did see improvement from Texas in the first game. Now, they didn't add anything, but there are younger players who didn't play as much last year who are stepping up into a bigger role. Courtney Ramey had 16 points, and he's a great point guard because he knows how to run the offense. He's tough on defense. He locks guys down, and he can shoot from 3 occasionally. So that'll help this team with their spirit and skill and ability to move and transition, push for an NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, kind of going off what Henry was saying, but you have a positive twist to it. People have more experience. They're maybe better this year.
Exactly.
I'm going to agree with Clark in the sense I do think he'll stay, but it's due to the caveat I have, in my prediction for the Longhorns this year, which is they will make the NCAA tournament. So I feel if Shaka's able to make it and then win a game in the NCAA tournament, which he hasn't done in his 4 years in Austin, I think Shaka Smart will stay. Shaka Smart, the thing that he's been criticized for, he's gotten great recruits, but he hasn't necessarily developed them for the Longhorns. Yes, he's produced first-round picks, but Shaka Smart in his time in Austin has really not done anything with these recruits. However, I do think this is an interesting team for him this year. The reason why I say it is because you do have a bunch of guys that are returning. There's not a lot of hype guys. You don't have a Mo Bamba, a Jared Allen, a Jackson Hayes, let's say. But you have a group that's very experienced, has had a lot of time. I think Courtney Ramey is going to have a big jump in his second year. I think Matt Coleman has a veteran leadership. And for Shaka Smart, these are players he's going to have to rely on this year. And I think he's very happy with his team this year. I think he likes likes the depth. I think you saw there's a lot of guys from last night's game against Northern Colorado for the Longhorns that can play and step in. I think more guys than Shaka Smart anticipated. So for right now, I think Shaka Smart's job will be safe. However, if Shaka's not able to make the tournament or have a good job in the Big 12, it'll be rough for him this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Shaka's here partially because the buyout would be very expensive, and I think this team is a lot better of a team than you've seen in the past. Shaka gets great recruits. There's always great players, but a really good team this year. So Henry, you're going to start with 3. Clark and Zach, you're starting with 4. Moving on, after a disappointing first-round exit last year, the women's basketball team left much to be desired. Last year's banged-up squad is ready to bounce back to elite status behind seniors Joyner Holmes and Shug Sutton. So what is the biggest concern for this team headed into the 2019-2020 season? Clark, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to say it's the defending national champions who are in their conference, the Baylor Bears. Baylor is just as good this year because last night they played New Hampshire and they were up 51-3 at halftime. And they're adding players. Tia Cooper, she was a guard at South Carolina and she led them in scoring. And now you're getting this good guard, which Baylor lost some of that in their backcourt. And you're adding it with some talent they added in their recruiting classes. And last year, the Longhorns played them twice and lost both times. And the last time they played Baylor, they lost 64-35.
Yeah, so maybe not a big concern with the team, but just who you have to go up against.
Watch, yeah, the team will have to go against some tough competition in the Big 12. For the Longhorns, one issue, injuries. And this what happened last year. LaShawn Higgs was a big key, and she got injured last year for the Longhorns. And they gained her back, but also in the preseason games they've played so far, they've had people not suit up due to injury, like Shug Sutton, one of their best players. So for the Longhorns, they'll just be able to stay healthy throughout the year. I know that's a general concern with most teams in the country. However, the Longhorns dealt with that last year, and it caused them, because they're always a consistent powerhouse. You don't have to worry necessarily about, with the Longhorn women compared to the Longhorn men, about making it to the tournament. They're going to make it to the tournament, most likely, the Longhorns. However, if the injuries start to pile up, that can hurt their seed and then hurt their chances of advancing in the tournament.
And that's exactly what you saw last year. The only reason Texas didn't advance in the tournament is because so many players were injured. Henry?
I mean, yeah, Zach stole my answer. That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, this team, they have the experience. They have a lot of veteran players. And then LaShawn Higgs, key player for them last year, goes down just 4 games into the season. You can keep LaShawn Higgs healthy, as well as Joyner Holmes, Shug Sutton, sorry, excuse me. Shug Sutton. And yeah, I think this team has a very, very high ceiling. So I think the concern is more on just internally and their ability to stay healthy and stay focused, as well as, as opposed to outside teams. However, I will say that the one positive of them being so banked up last year is that they do have to deal with injuries this year. They've had to face that adversity, and they can maybe bounce back from it better than they did a year ago.
Yeah, and that might help with a little bit of depth on the bench. But, I mean, if you have the injury bug that you had last year, there's no way. I mean, you have Baylor in your conference, but if this is a fully healthy Texas team, they might be able to steal more from Baylor. Who knows? I mean, this is a really good Texas team. So Henry and Clark, you are at 6. Zach, you are at 7. All right, headed to football. Kansas State has rattled off 3 straight wins over TCU, OU, and Kansas, scoring nearly 37 points per game in that stretch. Junior quarterback Skylar Thompson has ran all over the field, scoring 10 touchdowns on the ground this year. Is there any way a struggling Texas team can stop the scorching hot locomotive that is Kansas State? Zach?
Ooh, this is a tough one right here. This is similar to last year for the Longhorns right now, because the Longhorns last year, after losing consecutive games to Oklahoma State and West Virginia, had this crossroads where they needed to win out, which they did. They're at this point right now, the Longhorns, where they have Kansas State, a red-hot team, a team that is ranked 16th in the college football playoff rankings last night. And as you said, beat 2 teams that Texas lost to in TCU and Oklahoma. I don't know why Longhorn fans are not as worried for Kansas State compared to TCU, but Kansas State is a lot better of a team than TCU. I'll tell you that right now. And if you're the Longhorns, the only saving grace right now is you are getting players. You're getting Caden Stearns, BJ Foster back. You're expecting the guys that you started the year with, who you expected to have high expectations for, coming back and playing their best football. Right now, Sam has had some time to think about 4 interceptions that he had for the Longhorns, and I think overall this will be a tough one. I think this is where the Longhorns will either go on a run or they might end up barely making a bowl this year.
Yeah, so, go ahead, Henry.
I'm going to say that everything that has compiled in the last couple of weeks is exactly why Texas will win this weekend, and I will tell you why. One, the fact that Kansas State is so scorching hot right now is good for Texas in the sense that I don't know what it is about Texas, but for some reason they always play up and down to their competition. And I think had Kansas State not been on such a great run, had they maybe been behind Texas, they would not be taken as seriously as Texas, and maybe Texas would come out and lose this game. But I think Texas is going to take them incredibly seriously as an opponent, number one. Number two, my boy Sam, he had a poor game last week. He hasn't had many of those. Let me remind everybody, Sam, outside of last week, Sam has been very, very good, not just this season, but last season too. So I 100% expect Sam to bounce back. And then all these injuries, Texas getting injured players back, I think it all adds up to a Texas win.
Yeah, I mean, up until the Oklahoma game, people had him in the Heisman race. He's kind of fallen off the cliff in terms of national spotlight, but still a great quarterback, Clark.
Texas is winning this one for sure. And here's why. For sure. Look, even though this Kansas State offense has played very well, it's not impossible to stop. It's not very diverse. It's kind of an old school option offense. They only throw for 171 yards per game, so they can't stretch the ball downfield. Additionally, guess who we're getting back? Texas is getting back. Caden Stearns, who could have been an All-American this season had he stayed healthy. When you combine that with 2 weeks to game plan, this Texas team is going to come out angry and beat the Wildcats.
So nobody's concerned about Skylar Thompson
No,
running around?
I was actually about to jump in there.
all right, yeah,
hang on.
The Skylar Thompson, I'd say this. Yes, granted they have a great running game. However, Skylar Thompson is an excellent senior-led quarterback. He has faced the Longhorns plenty of times. It's not like Max Duggan, who might have just one game. This is a guy who's played the Longhorns and lost, so I think Skylar Thompson's really a solid quarterback to watch out for.
All right, we got to go. All right, at the end of the first period, Henry, you're at 9, and Clark, you're at 9, and Zach, you're at 10. When we come back, the panel plays the World Series blame game, and who is the king of quarterbacks in the AFC? Welcome back to College Crossfire. Before we get back to business, let's check out the scoreboard. Henry, you're at 9. Clark, you're at 9. Zach, you're at 10. I see you guys all eyeing me, making sure I got the score right.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to jump right in. The New England Patriots suffered their first loss of the season at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens, and more specifically, the feet of Lamar Jackson. Jackson has dominated defenses through the air and on the ground this year, stomping out the narrative that he is just a running back playing quarterback. So now that almost anyone with a brain can see that he should play quarterback, is Lamar Jackson already the best one in the AFC? Clark, I'm sorry, Henry, we're going to start with you.
Oh, Henry. Okay, so it kind of depends what you mean by best quarterback in the AFC. Is he playing the best right now, this second? Yeah, maybe. Now, is he the quarterback I would want in the AFC to win me a playoff game right this second? The answer for that is going to be no. And that's just because I'm going to have to go with, other, obviously, like Tom Brady, obviously. I know Patrick Mahomes is injured right now. He will come back. So I think the answer is that right now, and credit to Lamar Jackson, he's been playing fantastic. But if we're talking about postseason, who would I want to take in the postseason right now? I can't say Lamar Jackson yet, just because of his inexperience and the fact that it is a small sample size so far.
Yeah, and last year in the playoffs, major favorites to beat the Chargers and just fell flat. Clark?
Shaking my head, Henry. Look. No, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the AFC right now. First of all, he does not have a top 10 wide receiver on his teams in terms of yardage, so they have to rely on him a lot. But he also plays, he's not in top 10. He plays to the essence of the position. You call on the quarterback to step up in the biggest moments, and Lamar always does. He beat Russell Wilson in Seattle, and he just beat Tom Brady, who's one of the greatest of all time. Lamar Jackson is 60.9, 5th in QBR. He's one of the best QBs in the league, no question, and this guy has a bright future ahead.
So would you take him to win a playoff game?
Yes.
Of any quarterback in the AFC?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Patrick Mahomes,
All
1-1 in the playoffs.
All right, Zach.
I'm going to disagree. I don't think Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the AFC. However, I'll give a quick caveat before I jump on. I think Lamar Jackson has to embrace the running more. I think he kind of shies away from it. I think he says, yes, he is a quarterback. He's proven us he's a quarterback, but don't shy away from the running. Say, that's not who I am. You're an excellent runner. You can evade the pocket. Embrace that. Now, move on to my quarterbacks. I think they're better. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, especially Deshaun Watson this year. It's going to be close. Deshaun Watson has been a magician, though. He has played really well these last 2 games specifically. I think Deshaun Watson is better than Lamar at this stage. I think he can just make more throws. And Lamar's proven it, but I think, and you're going to say, yes, he doesn't have the weapons. He doesn't have the weapons, or he has the weapons, unlike Lamar Jackson, who you said Hollywood Brown's not a top 10 receiver. He clearly has DeAndre Hopkins. However, I think Deshaun Watson has done an excellent job for his team this year. I think Patrick Mahomes is just naturally can make any throw on the football field. I think he's better than Lamar Jackson. But Lamar has plenty of time to prove himself, and they're number 1 in the AFC at the end. I think it's going to be tough to say he's not. But for right now, I still have Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with you and Henry as well. I think Lamar Jackson is playing really, really well, and he's a very good quarterback right now. But I think he hasn't proven himself in the playoffs yet. So in terms of regular season, he might be playing the best right now. I don't know if I would put Deshaun Watson over him. Patrick Mahomes for sure. So Henry, you're going to get the point. I think. Yeah. I mean, it's really good. Like, he hasn't won a playoff game yet, and I mean, you just have to prove yourself before you can be given the crown over such great quarterbacks in the AFC. So Henry, you're going to get the point. The Baylor Bears are the last undefeated Division I football team in Texas. At 8-0, the Bears are ranked 12th in the opening college football playoff rankings. With TCU, Oklahoma, and Texas coming up on the schedule, how will Baylor fare for the rest of the season? Is this team a contender or a pretender? Clark.
Baylor is pretending like all the stars that are closer in that Kendrick Lamar song. Look, this team didn't play anybody in the AP top 25 at the time. And they almost lost to West Virginia at home by 3, and they almost lost to Rice. They only beat Rice by 8. This is ridiculous to consider this team in college football playoff contention at all. They're not Oklahoma. They're not Alabama. They're not LSU. They allow 36 points per game. This team is not winning the Big 12.
Tell them how it is, Clark.
I wrote in my notes, pretending with about 15 underlines.
Now, watch. The question is obviously on the national scale. You're saying right here, contender, pretender.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, they're a contender in the Big 12, but on the national scale, they are a pretender. Clearly, watch. I will give Baylor some credit. They have had good wins in the Big 12. They beat Kansas State and Oklahoma State, who are 2 top 25 teams currently, despite Oklahoma State's debatability there, in the college football playoff, and they beat them on the road. So you got to give them credit there. However, they're weird because, like you said, they barely played anybody in non-conference. They almost lost to some teams that were really bad non-conference, and they almost lost to a bunch of teams at home that they should have beaten, probably like a Texas Tech. So with Baylor, they are a pretender. However, they do have a tough stretch, so they could prove us wrong right now, except Texas right now, we don't know how good they are. Oklahoma will be the game, and I think TCU on the road will be another game we'll see, but they're definitely a pretender. They're not a contender right now.
Are we even sure that Baylor is better than Texas? Because Baylor has not played yet any of the teams in the Big 12 that Texas has lost to. Texas lost to Oklahoma and TCU. Baylor has not played them. They haven't come up on the schedule. We'll see from those games, maybe get a little bit of a better idea. And in addition to that, they talk about some almost losses they had. Now, when I'm trying to argue for sometimes I'll use an argument, a win is a win. However, in this case, just to support my own argument, I'm going to use what these two have said about how they did almost lose to some of these weak teams, and because of that, they're pretenders.
Yeah, I mean, this Baylor team just doesn't look like the 12th best team in the country. I would argue also that Texas might be a better team than this team, especially when fully healthy. But, I mean, bring in the heat. We got to give Clark the points for that one. Clark, I mean, pretending with 15 underlines, this Baylor team is a pretender. As of now, they might prove us otherwise, but they look like pretenders for now. For the first time in franchise history, the Washington Nationals are on top of the baseball world. The Nationals put up 3 runs in the 7th and 2 runs in the 9th to clinch Game 7 Wednesday. Many people are criticizing the Astros' management at the end of the game, but was it the Astros' fault? Did they lose the game, or were the Nats just too good to deny? Zach.
This is a clear answer to me. The Nationals won it. I don't think the Astros lost it because people want to keep using that idea of A.J. Hinch's decision in the pitching. Yes, it was crucial, but the Nationals made the plays in both 6 and 7 after being down 3-2 and losing. They had no momentum. However, they went into Minute Maid and made all the plays. Strasburg picked excellent in Game 6, and then you had Game 7, and Old Man Howie did his thing like he did earlier in the NLCS, and he made the play. And then Rendon was excellent in the series. Juan Soto looks like a young star on the rise. And this team is tough, and I don't think the Astros did enough to really, lose this game. I think it was just the Nationals. It was their time, and they just played better on the road, like every team did in the World Series, playing better on the road.
Yeah.
Well, I agree that the Nationals won it. I'm thinking if I should change my answer on the spot to try to be different, but no, I'm going to agree with Zach that the Nationals won it. I understand, everyone's talking about AJ Hinch didn't, pitch Garrett Cole. He was ready. He was healthy, yada, yada. He went with Will Harris, who Will Harris, up until that point in the World Series, the entire postseason, I think he maybe gave up 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was a bad decision to go with Will Harris. So I just think, some guys just don't get the job done on a certain day. I don't think he choked. Maybe he did choke. I don't know exactly what it was, but he just didn't get the job done that day. But I don't think it was a bad managerial move.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is 20/20. Of course, he gives up the runs, and people are going to be upset. Oh, you shouldn't have put him in. But yeah, he was playing great all the season. Clark.
The Nationals hustled, paid the price, and won this World Series for sure. It's not just this series that this story was about. This team lost Bryce Harper, who's the big star of Major League Baseball. And they said, you know what? No, we're not going to overpay. We're going to be a classic team and rely on our young players and give them a chance. And they stepped up in this series. They won the first 2 games in Houston. Steven Strasburg was clutch. He had a 2.5 ERA. There's no question that it's the Nats who took this series, not the Astros who lost it.
Yeah, I mean, this Nationals team had the magic, and whoever has the magic in baseball, they're going to go far. And so, I mean, I got to give the point to Zach. I think the Nats made the plays in the series, and not only that series, but the whole postseason. They just had the magic this year. It was their time, is what you said, I think. It was their time to win this postseason, or this World Series. So, Zach, you're going to get the points. All right, at the end of the first, or at the end of the second period, what are you putting down here? Henry, you're at 10. Clark, you're at 10. Zach, you're at 11. All right, great debate, guys. Rapid fire is coming up next. Stick around because it is sure to get heated.
You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Crossfire and welcome in to Rapid Fire. Before we get the debate going, let's just remind everybody of the score just to get our bearings a little bit. Henry, you're at 10. Clark, you're at 10. Zach, you're at 11. Remember, in Rapid Fire, every question is worth 2 points. And you know what that means? It's anybody's game. All right, both basketball teams won their first showing in the Frank Irwin Center this year with very little spectators to cheer them on. Texas has a new arena on the way, hopefully boosting home court advantage. So what should Texas include in their new arena to psych out visiting teams? Maybe get a little bit more home court advantage. What should Texas do in their new arena?
Strobe lights.
Strobe lights?
Strobe lights at the foul line.
At the
'Cause it'll
foul line?
Yeah. Whenever a guy steps at the foul line, you start playing the strobe lights so he can it distracts his vision. And then you can't see the hoop as well, and that'll throw your accuracy off. And then, and then they won't be able to hit 3-pointers, and Texas will win the Big 12.
Okay, I'm going to go with something similar, involves free throw distractions. I was reminded just now of a sports science episode I watched about distractions at the free throw line, where they brought in like this guitar band, this rock band, to try to distract the guy. I think they should set up a rock band at, across from where the opponent's shooting free throws. One, it will distract them, and 2, the fans will get a free rock concert. So now maybe more fans will show up to the games.
Yeah, maybe like the Longhorn City Limits thing for the football games. Just incorporate that into the basketball and in the game. All right, all right.
I guess here, sticking with a theme that we saw about stuff that's spooky. We talk about ghosts and black cats out here. Maybe we want to put a little pictures and maybe put some stuff around the locker room while they're entering the hallway. It might spook them out before the game. You get them scared before they go in there.
All right. People jumping out at them or black cats or what?
Yeah.
Just all of the above?
Intimidation, man.
All right, scare factor. All right. Clark, I don't know if yours is legal.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can do that. But so Henry, you're going to give it 2 points. The rock band. Get distraction in the game and giving back to the fans.
2 for 1 deal.
Yeah, 2 for 1. All right. So Henry, you're going to get the points.
Sweet.
Moving on, the Oregon Ducks are ranked number 7 in the first college football playoff rankings. But if you ask me, their sideline amenities should put them at number 2. The Ducks have a collapsible toilet on their sideline just in case one of their players really needs to go. This is an incredible innovation that got me thinking, what else is missing from football sideline?
Oh, I got it right now. Vending machines.
Okay.
Dude, the players need these vending machines. You know, they don't need to be as picky about stuff. You know, it's easy. If they want a snack, you know, if Marshawn Lynch wants his Skittles, he just got to go to the vending machine and click right there, and it goes down. If Mark Sanchez wants to eat a hot dog under like this, he can just go get a hot dog and go for the vending machine. So I say they need a vending machine. That's what they need.
Clark, you go. I need some more time to think.
What do we need on sidelines?
I'm trying to think, what do football players need when they're playing games?
Luxurious dinners. Just have a
Dinners?
steak dinner out there. The players, the linemen, when they feeling a little empty on their stomach, they can go get a steak and eat them up.
Okay, I'm gonna get it. They need Madden on the
Madden?
sidelines because if a player's having a poor game, he can go into Madden, turn his game sliders on to bazillion, and then maybe by seeing him do well in Madden, it'll make him want to do well. I think it's all mental. Listen, in the wise words of a famous baseball player, half the game is 90% mental. So.
Okay, if it's mental, then you're getting distracted with Madden. Zach, you're going to get the points. The Mark Sanchez needs a hot dog on the sideline. Give him a hot dog. Let him have a hot dog on the sideline. Zach, just let
one.
That's all Mark Sanchez went to the NFL for. He just wanted some hot dogs. Right? Give the man some hot dogs. All right, Zach, you're going to get the 2 points. All right, with a little under 6 minutes left in the second quarter of the Cowboys-Giants game Monday night, a black cat took the field and stole the show. The cat, nicknamed Whiskers by some on Twitter, instantly became a viral sensation. Kevin Harlan made an all-time great call as Whiskers pranced into the end zone. With such a great moment in sports, let's hear y'all's favorite moments in sports where the animal kingdom was introduced.
When Bevo attacked Uga, no question. When you get that primal instinct, this is why we have live mascots, so they can go crazy on the field and they give your team some energy as Texas went on to win the Sugar Bowl that year.
So it's interesting. This is like, we're trying to go more funny here than like serious, because like, you think of horse racing, obviously that's a really accomplishment. But you got to go San Antonio when Manu was swatting away the bat and the coyote was running around. He was all over the place like that, trying to get it. So when Manu, and he also swatted that bat. That bat went down. He didn't miss it. He got it like on his first or second try. I remember that. That came to me.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was impressive.
Okay, I'm going to completely concede this because my answer is nowhere near as good as this. But my answer would be, back when I was about a young kid, this was in 1969.
Yeah.
There was a black cat that ran onto the field when the New York Mets were playing the Chicago Cubs. It is known as the black cat that gave the Cubs a curse because the Mets went on to make a run and win the National League that year and then the World Series.
That's true. That's true.
That is true.
Oh, I got to give the points to Bevo versus Uga. Fantastic sports moment. So, Clark, you're going to get the 2 points. But that is not enough to get you the win. Zach, you're tonight's winner. Congratulations to Zach. Do we have time for FaceTime? What? No? No time for FaceTime. Sorry, Zach.
It's all good.
All right, that is all the time we have for tonight. Congratulations to our winner, Zach. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Be sure to check out College Press Box every Monday at 9:30 p.m. for the latest sports news on the 40 Acres. Also, tune into the 1-0 Sports Show hosted by Thomas Fitch and Robert Trevino at 8 a.m. every Friday. And also this Friday, Texas hockey will be taking on UNT at Chaparral Ice, and we've got you covered. Tune in at 8:50 for the live broadcast. Don't forget to follow at TSTV Sports on social media. And for all the panelists and everyone in studio and master control, we'll see you next week. All right, welcome back, everybody, our Facebook Live viewers. We got an exclusive Facebook Live FaceTime for our winner, Zach. What does the crowd think of Zach winning?
Yeah!
Thanks.
All right, Zach, let's see take it away.
I'm going to say, well, I'll stick on the trend, obviously. Watch. The New York Giants, my team, plays the New York Jets this week. And, you know, they had two. I know, the fans haters. But watch. It's two bad teams. But you know what they had? The Jets have ghosts. The Giants have black cats. It's the battle of Halloween at this point. And this is what it is. Whatever team loses this game will just get the #1 pick. That's my prediction right there. So
whoever loses this game gets the #1 pick?
That's my prediction.
Even the Bengals?
Yes, even with the Bengals, even with the Dolphins, they would just go down and plummet. Because if you lose to a team that's 1-6 or 2-7, you don't deserve to be anything other than a #1 pick. That's what I'll say.
All right, you heard it here, folks.
The Dan
first.
You'll see
Whoever
it.
loses this game wins the tank war.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
They'll win the tank war.
We'll see you guys next week.